Hey everyone, a warm welcome to this lecture. In this video, we will explore how to install Prometheus and Grafana and integrate the two to create a robust monitoring tech stack. Now in this setup, Prometheus will act as our data source, while Grafana will take data stored in Prometheus and visualize it on beautiful and customizable dashboards. So before we get started, ensure you have an instance of Ubuntu 24.04 and a sudo user configured. You can follow along by provisioning a VPS or a cloud server at Cherry Servers. Cherry Servers is the leading European cloud infrastructure provider that offers state-of-the-art and affordable cloud and bare metal servers. Now let's get started. Prometheus is an open source monitoring and alerting system that collects and stores numerical and time series data such as CPU and memory usage per second. Now it monitors a wide range of infrastructure including servers, containers, applications, and even microservices. And in addition to its monitoring capabilities, it also provides a powerful alerting system that notifies you in case any anomalies are detected. Now with that out of the way, let's get started with our step-by-step procedure on how to install Prometheus and Grafana. Now the first step is to check your system architecture, and this will help you know which format of Prometheus to download. So to do so, run the command uname with the -m option and hit enter. So from the output, you can see we are running a 64-bit version as you would expect with any modern version of Ubuntu. In this case, we are using Ubuntu 24.04. Now, once you have ensured or checked your system architecture, the next step is to update the local package index. And to do so, simply run the command sudo apt update and hit enter. And the apt cache has been updated. Now the next step will be to create a Prometheus user and group. And this is preferred so that Prometheus can run with limited privileges, which is the best practice for system security. So here, what you're going to do, we are going to copy these commands here. So first, we are going to create a system group using this command here. So I'm going to copy this and come back to the terminal and paste it here. So this will create a group, a system group called Prometheus. So I'm gonna hit enter and that is done. So next I'm going to create a non-login system user and add the system user to the system group by running the following command. So I'm going to copy this command here and paste it there. So what this does is that it creates a non-login system user called Prometheus and adds the user to the group we've just created, which is Prometheus. So here I'm simply going to hit enter. Now the next step will be to set up directories for Prometheus. So we're going to create directories for the Prometheus configuration and data storage in order to keep everything organized. So what you're going to do next, we are going to create the configuration directory for Prometheus. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here and hit enter. So this will create the /etc/Prometheus directory. And now I'm going to create the data directory into which the data files will go into. So I'm going to copy this command here and run it on the terminal, and I'm going to hit enter. So now once we have created the directories for Prometheus, the next step will be to download and extract the Prometheus binary. So you can head over to the Prometheus download page and download the latest stable release. So in this case, we are going to use the Prometheus binary version 2.55.0. So here I already have the link, the download link. So here I'm going to use the wget command and grab this compressed turbo file. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here on the terminal. So here I'm going to hit enter. So this will download this file here. Okay, so let me run the ls command. And this is the file we have downloaded. Now, once you've downloaded the file, we are going to extract it using the tar command like this. So here I'm going to provide the name of the file as the argument and hit enter. So as you can see, these are the files that have been extracted. So once I run the ls command, once again, you can see that this is the folder that has been extracted. And once we preview the contents of the folder, so this is what you're going to get. So I'm gonna hit enter, and these are the contents of the folder. Alright, so now that we have extracted the directory, the next step will be to configure Prometheus. Now it's time to configure Prometheus to ensure smooth operation and prepare it for data collection. In this section, you will move the main files to the appropriate locations, set the right permissions, and configure Prometheus to run as a background service. So moving on, the first step will be to move the binaries and set the permissions. So what you're going to do, we are now going to move the binary. So we are going to move this binary here, Prometheus, and the prom2 binary here to the user local bin directory. Okay, so to do so, what you're going to do, we are going to copy this command here, and we're going to run it on the terminal. So I'm gonna clear the screen. So I'm gonna paste this command here and run it. Okay, then afterward I'm going to copy this other command here. So this will move the prom2 binary. So I'm gonna copy and run it here. Okay, so what you've done, we have moved these binaries, the Prometheus and the prom2 binaries, to the user local bin directories. Now, after you've done that, what you're going to do, we're going to modify their ownership so that Prometheus user has the necessary permissions to manage them. So I'm going to copy this command here and run it on the terminal. So this sets the ownership of Prometheus to Prometheus user and Prometheus group. So similarly, we are going to change the ownership of the prom2 binary. So once again, I'm going to copy and paste here and run it. So we have changed the ownership of the Prometheus and prom2 binaries to Prometheus user and Prometheus group. Now, after you have done that, we are going to move the configuration files and set the ownership. So here now we are going to move the libraries, configuration files. So I'm going to copy this command here and run it on the terminal like that. So this moves the console's libraries to this location here, /etc/Prometheus. So we are going to move the next binaries, which is console_libraries. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here. And now we are going to move the other configuration file. So this is the main configuration file, which is the prometheus.yaml file. So I'm going to run this command here. So let me copy this and paste it there. Okay, so I have moved these two binaries to the Acess Prometheus directory, which we created earlier on. And lastly, we moved the Prometheus configuration file, which is prometheus.yaml, to the Acess Prometheus directory. Okay, now once we have done that, we are going to set the ownership so that Prometheus user has access to these directories. So here I'm going to copy this command here to change the ownership. So I'm going to run this. So this changes the ownership of this directory to Prometheus user and group. And also we're going to change the ownership of the data directory. So I'm going to copy this and paste it there and hit enter. Okay, now that is done. So now we are going to create a systemd service for Prometheus, and we need to do so that we can have Prometheus running as a background service and to manage it by starting automatically on boot. Okay, so now to do so, what I'm going to do, we are going to create a systemd file. So I'm going to copy this command here. So this creates and opens a systemd file called prometheus.service. So I'm going to hit enter. Then I'm going to copy the following lines. So I'm going to copy these lines of code and paste them there. Okay, so these lines define the systemd service. So I'm going to save by pressing Ctrl-O, hit enter, then Ctrl-X to exit Nano editor. So now once I've done that, I need to reload systemd and start Prometheus. So to reload systemd, I'm going to run this command here, sudo systemctl daemon reload. So let me run it. Okay, so once I've done that, the next step is to enable Prometheus to start on boot. So I'm going to copy this and paste it there. Okay, so and Prometheus has been enabled to start on boot. So now let's start Prometheus. So here I'm going to say sudo systemctl start Prometheus, like that, and hit enter. Now let's check the status of Prometheus. So here I'm going to say sudo systemctl status Prometheus, and I'm going to hit enter. So as you can see on your screen, Prometheus should be running as expected. Okay, now let me quit. Now what you need to do is to access Prometheus from a web browser, and what you need to do is to now head over to your browser, and here you need to type the address of your server. So here I'm going to check the address, the public IP. So as you can see here, this is my public IP. So I'm going to copy this. So here I'm going to paste it like that, and here I'm going to specify the port number, which is port 9090, and I'm going to hit enter. So this is what you should get. All right, so what you need to do is to head over to status and click targets. So you should be having one endpoint here, which is the Prometheus endpoint, which we have just created here. Now once you've done that, the next step will be to install Node Exporter. So see you in the next section. In this step, we are going to install the Node Exporter agent. Now, Node Exporter enables Prometheus to collect detailed system metrics such as CPU usage, memory, disk space, and network statistics. Okay, so now moving on, we need to download the Node Exporter binary. So once again, you can head over to the Node Exporter official page and grab the latest file. So here in our case, we are going to use the Node Exporter version 1.8.2. Okay, so here I'm going to grab this command here and run it on the terminal. So I'm going to click copy and run it here. So this will download the table file, as you can see there. Okay, now once this has been downloaded, so let's confirm this using the ls command. So as you can see, this is my downloaded file. So once we have that in place, we are going to extract it using the tar command like that. So I'm going to specify the name of the file and hit enter. Okay, so now let's confirm this using the ls command. So this is our directory here. Okay, so once we have done that, we need to move the binary to the user local bin. So here I'm going to run this command here, and I'm going to copy and run it here. So this will move this binary here to the user local bin directory. Okay, so I'm gonna hit enter. Okay, so now we're going to create a system user for Node Exporter, and this is for security purposes, so that we can create a dedicated user for Node Exporter. So once again, I'm going to copy this command here and run it on the terminal, and I'm gonna hit enter. Okay, now the next step is to create a systemd service, just like we did with Prometheus. So once again, I'm going to create a systemd service file using the nano editor. So I'm going to run this on the terminal and hit enter. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here like that. Okay, so I'm going to save it by pressing Ctrl O, hit enter, and then Ctrl X to exit. Okay, so now let's reload systemd. So here I'm going to copy this command here, sudo systemctl daemon reload. So I'm going to copy this and run it on the terminal. Next, I'm going to enable Node Exporter service to start on system boot. So I'm going to copy and run it here. Okay, so this has been configured to start automatically on system startup. And then I'm going to start node exporter. So here I'm going to copy this and say sudo systemctl start node exporter. Okay, now let's check the status of node exporter service. So here I'm going to say sudo systemctl, then status node exporter, and I'm going to hit enter. And as you can see, we have the node exporter systemd service active and running. So now the next step, we are going to confirm whether node exporter is collecting metrics. Okay, so to do that, what you're going to do is that we're going to move to our web browser once again. So here I'm going to once again need the IP address of my server. So as you can see, it's 84.32.25.115. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to open a new tab. So I'm going to copy that. And now this time around, we are going to specify the port number, which is 9100, then /metrics. And I'm going to hit enter. So as you can see, we get row statistics on our web browser. And if you reload, you can see the values keep on changing, a confirmation that the metrics are being gathered by node exporter, and this is sure confirmation that node exporter is working as expected. In the next step, we are going to add node exporter to Prometheus. So see you in the next step. In this section, we are going to add the node exporter agent as a target in the Prometheus configuration file. And to do so, we are going to access the Prometheus configuration file. So here I'm going to run this command to access the Prometheus configuration file. So I'm going to copy that and paste it here to access the file. And this is what we have by default. So just scroll all the way down. So in this section, we can see the script configs. So here is where you're going to specify our endpoints. Okay, so the default endpoint here is defined by the job name, which is Prometheus, and this is the target localhost 9090, which is exactly what we have here. So as you can see, this is our first endpoint, and this is the job name called Prometheus. All right, so what you're going to do, we're going to add another endpoint here, and what you need to do is to copy this. So here I have a block of code and the name is node exporter and this is the target. So here what you're going to do, I'm going to press space twice. So since this is a YAML file, we need to pay attention to the indentation. So I'm going to copy this block of code. So ensure that this line here coincides vertically with this one here. Okay, as well as this block of code here. So ensure that this aligns with that vertically. Okay, so this is our first endpoint with this target localhost colon 9090, and this is our second endpoint localhost 9100. Okay, so this is for node exporter, which you are going to add. So to do so, just save by pressing Ctrl O and hit enter, then exit by pressing Ctrl X. And once that is done, we need to restart Prometheus for the changes to come into effect. So I'm going to copy this and run it here. So this restarts Prometheus. Now let's check or verify the status of Prometheus once again. So here I'm going to say sudo systemctl status Prometheus and hit enter. So Prometheus is active and running. So now let's head back to the web browser and confirm whether we have added a new endpoint. So I'm going to head back here and I'm going to refresh this. So as you can see, now we have two endpoints. We have node exporter. So we can click here to show more. And this is a newly added endpoint. And this is the second endpoint, which we added earlier. So we have node exporter and Prometheus. So at this point, we have successfully installed and configured Prometheus and node exporter services. Now in our next section, we are going to install Grafana, which will allow us to visualize our metrics. So see you in the next section. In this section, we are going to install Grafana, which is an open source platform that lets you create aesthetically appealing dashboards and set up alerts, thereby providing a real-time visual representation of your metric data. So the first step will be to add or install the prerequisite packages. So here I'm going to copy this command here, and this will install the prerequisite packages needed for the installation of Grafana. So I'm going to run this command, and as you can see, we already have the prerequisite packages in place. Now the next step, we are going to create the keyrings directory in which the GPG key will be installed. So I'm going to copy this and run it on the terminal. Now the keyrings directory has been created. So next we are going to add the GPG key using the wget command here. So I'm going to copy the entire command and I'm going to run it and hit enter. So now let's confirm the existence of the GPG key. So once again, I'm going to copy this directory here. So I'm going to come here and list the GPG key. So once I hit enter, you can see this is a GPG key we have added to a system. Now, once you have added the GPG key, the next step will be to add Grafana's apt repository. Now, Grafana is not listed or is not hosted in the default Ubuntu repositories, so we need to add the Grafana repository manually to our system. So I'm gonna hit enter, and this is the path we have added the repository. So it's in the etc apt sources.list.d directory. So let me list the contents of that directory. So I'm going to use the ls command once again and hit enter. So this is the repository we've just added. And to notify the system about the newly added repository, we are going to update the local package index. So here I'm going to run the command sudo apt update and hit enter. And as you can see from the output in these lines, the system has detected the presence of the Grafana repository. Okay, so once that is done, now we can add or install Grafana using the apt package manager. So to do so, simply run the command sudo apt install Grafana and hit enter. So as you can see, this will require roughly 694 megabytes of storage. So ensure you have enough space on your hard disk. So to proceed, I'll press Y and hit enter. So from the output, you can see the installation of Grafana has been successful. Now let's start Grafana, and to do that, I'm going to run the command sudo systemctl, then start Grafana server, like that, and hit enter. Now we also need to enable Grafana to start on system boot, okay, so that every time you start your server, Grafana will already start running. So I'm going to enable the Grafana service. Okay, now let's confirm whether Grafana is running. So I'm going to run the command sudo systemctl, then here I'm going to say status and hit enter. So as you can see, Grafana service is active and running. Another way you can do this is that you can use the ss command. So here I'm going to run the command sudo ss -pnltu. Then here I'm going to pipe this to grep, then -i for ignoring case sensitivity, and then I'm going to search for Grafana and hit enter. So this is the output you get. So as you can see, Grafana is running, and it's running under the PID of 171.35. So this will be different in your case. And over here, you can see it's listening on TCP port 3000. Okay, so we have installed Grafana. Now let's head over to our web browser and access it from there. Okay, so I'm just going to head over to the web browser. So first of all, let me check my IP address. So once again, I'm going to copy my public IP address here. So I'm going to copy this and head over to the browser. So I'll open a new tab here, and I'm going to paste this, and then I'm going to browse port 3000. Okay, so this is what you get. So over here you'll be presented with a login page. Now the default logins are admin and admin. Now you'll shortly be required to change this, so I'm going to click on login here, and as you can see, you get a notification that the password you've just used was found in a data breach. So you'll be required to change this password. So here I'm going to click never. So here I'm going to specify a new password. Okay, and here we get an automatic password generation. So I'm going to use this password here. Okay, so I'll make sure first of all I copy this. Okay, so here I'm going to click submit. So this will usher us into this dashboard here over here. So this is the Grafana dashboard. Okay, so now we are going to create the dashboards. Okay, to start creating a dashboard, first of all you need to add Prometheus as a data source on Grafana, and to do so head over to the left sidebar here and click on connections, then click data sources. So once you do that, you're going to see this interface here. So here we're going to click on add data source. So you'll be presented with the following options, and since we are using Prometheus as our endpoint for collecting metrics, we are going to select or click Prometheus. So as you can see here, you have a notification, data source has been added. So here you get the name, which is Prometheus. So over here we are going to provide the URL. Okay, so here we are going to specify localhost on port 9090. So this is the URL that Prometheus is listening on. So what you need to do is to scroll all the way down here. So leave everything as it is and click on save and test. So I'm going to click on save and test, and you should get this notification that the queried API was successful. Okay, and you can start to visualize data by building a dashboard. Okay, so here I'm going to click on this selection, building a dashboard, and this is what you'll get. So now we are going to start creating a dashboard, and one of the easiest ways is to import a dashboard from Customize Dashboard from the Grafana dashboard web page. So here I'm going to click on import dashboard, and then I'll click on discard. So you get this interface here. So this will require you to upload a JSON file. Now, as you mentioned earlier, Grafana comes with a list of customized dashboards. So here I'm going to go with this link. So over here you can see a list of dashboards offered by Grafana, and since we're using Node Exporter to pull the metrics, you need to come here and select Node Exporter Full. So click on this, and this gives you a preview of what the dashboard looks like, and you can have a look here. So here you can see the code we added earlier to our Prometheus configuration. Now of our concern is this information here on the right sidebar. So you can copy an ID, which by the way is 1860 at the time of making this video. So you can copy an ID to the clipboard or download the JSON file. So either of these can do. So here I'm going to copy the ID to the clipboard. So I'm going to come back here. So I'm going to paste it here, 1860, and click load. Okay, so this brings you to this page here, and everything looks good. So this is the name of the dashboard. Okay, and this is the folder it will be saved in. So I'm just going to click import, and in a short while you're going to see the dashboards displayed, and here we go. So as you can see now, we have dashboards showing various metrics such as the CPU, we have system load, we have RAM. At the moment it's 15.9% in use. We can see swap, so swap is not yet configured, that's why you see not applicable. You can see the root file system. So here you can see other metrics, so you can click this to expand and see more metrics. So here you can see the CPU statistics in more detail. Here you can see the network traffic. You can see here the disk IOPS. Okay, so you can continue clicking to reveal more of these metrics. So in summary, this is now what we have, and this shows you how we can integrate Prometheus and Grafana to give you a comprehensive view of your system metric utilization. Okay guys, so now this brings us to the end of this lecture, and in this lecture we have seen how to install Prometheus and Grafana and how to integrate the two to provide a real-time and comprehensive view of your system metrics. So in case you found this insightful and useful, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button to continue receiving more of these Linux tutorials. So until next time, take care and see you in the next video.